Thomas and Brett Hager. He'll be 2 yards short of the first, with Sims and Webb blocking effectively for Higgs that time.
Really been impressed with William Thomas at the outside linebacker position. Watch him run this play down from behind. That's showing some tremendous speed when you can do that as an outside linebacker. A la Lawrence Taylor used to do that all the time, just ripping around the corner, because obviously the Miami Dolphins are not accounting for him in the blocking scheme.
Former Aggie was a 4th-round draft choice in '91. Dolphins with a 3rd and 2. Peterson, short drop. One side, looks the other, now scrambles, flag down, and he slides for the Dolphin first down, but we could have a hold on the play. If this victory comes to set the record for Shula, it will have been a hard-fought one.
And to some degree, an ugly one. Going to be tripping against the Dolphins. And that was a big first down pickup by Doug Peterson. Now you're put back in a 2nd or 3rd and long.
Tripping, number 60, offense, 10 yards, repeat 3rd down.
4th penalty, 35 yards against Miami.
And that's Bert Widener, who is now in at the right guard position, filling in for Dellenbach, who moved over to the center position because of the injury to Uline.
So now 6 defensive backs come on for the Eagles as the Dolphins face 3rd and long.
Left side of your screen, the trip.
Peterson from the gun. Incomplete.
You know, that's one of those plays that when it works, it looks awfully pretty, but when it doesn't, and you have one of those defensive linemen come out to meet you head on, OJ's thinking, yeah, we didn't run that one at Penn State, and now I understand why.
O.J. McDuffie, named by his grandmother for her favorite player. Man who's with us today, O.J. Simpson. That had to be a long time ago. Hatcher will boot it. And sails it towards Sikahema at the 14. Sikahema free for a moment. Tight ropes down the sideline. Tripped up at the 40-yard line. Another brilliant return by Vi Sikahema, who today surpassed 3,000 yards in returns. That one covered 25. City of Brotherly Love, Tom Hammond, Chris Collinsworth, Mike Shadd back in the game at left guard after being shaken up earlier. Walker hit in the backfield, got a foot free, and manages to make a couple of yard gain out of it. Marco Coleman had him in the backfield.
Well, after a good first half of offense, we are back to that Philadelphia Eagles offense now in the second half that we know and love. A couple of fumbles, a couple of punts. They look like they may have been snapping out of their doldrums in the first half, but now here in the second half really haven't been able to put anything together.
Poor field position to boot. First Walker out of the game. Lofton is in at a wide receiver spot. Williams in motion, and O'Brien fakes the handoff to Hebron and fires a strike complete to Bavaro. The Eagles' leading pass receiver with his first catch of the day results in a Philadelphia first down at the Dolphin 45. Cox and Williams covering.
And what did Richie Kotite tell us yesterday? That Mark Bavaro is quite simply the best tight end in football. He says he's the most complete player. He blocks. He can catch the football. They've had to make a few concessions to his practice time. He obviously now, as he's gotten on in his career, can't go out there and practice the way that he used to. But come game time, he has been everything that they had hoped for.
O'Brien with a handoff to Hebron, stopped in the backfield. Great penetration that time by Klingbeil. Chuck Klingbeil was 2 yards deep to trip up Hebron.
And Klingbeil really had a nice game last week against the Jets. One of the few defensive players on this Dolphins team that played well last week. Spent a couple of years in the Canadian Football League with Saskatchewan. Came to Miami in '91. Started 15 games for them last year. Just kind of a big load in the middle at 295 pounds. Good play there.
His third season from Northern Michigan. Tough pass. O'Brien got it to Williams, though. It'll be a short gain on the play. Well, short of first down yardage. J.B. Brown got Williams on the crossing pattern. 5 catches, including the 2 scores for Williams.
The Dolphins have been dropping back into his own defense. That time, Brian Cox coming on the blitz. May have just been a blitz read to Calvin Williams over the middle, feeling like they had the man coverage, try to run him across the field against J.B. Brown, maybe popping for a long one.
3rd and 8 now. Shula's defense trying to hold. 3 wides, Lofton, Bailey, and Williams. O'Brien to Walker. And Herschel Walker with a first down to the 32-yard line. The Eagles really taking advantage of the multidimensional talents of Herschel Walker. 3rd leading receiver as well as being the leading rusher, lines up in the slot.
Just a zone defense, and Herschel knew exactly where the stick was, made the catch, and now watch him dive forward to make sure of that first down. Boy, it's nice to have some veteran players on your team come crunch time. That also puts the Eagles in field goal range. May give them an opportunity to take the lead back.
O'Brien has hit 16 of 24, 124 yards and 2 touchdowns. Short drop, O'Brien to Williams, tries to get away and cannot. Tackled at the 32-yard gain.
Such a natural tendency by a wide receiver to catch that ball and want to loop backwards. There, Calvin Williams had about 3 yards on the reception. If he just turns, lowers his head, and dives forward, it's 2nd down and 4. Instead, he loops back to the outside and is going to lose a couple of yards and put the Eagles in a 2nd down and 7. Got to be willing to just stick your head in there. 2 or 3 yards on this part of the field, so important.
O'Brien after the fake, looking somewhere to the end zone. That could be intercepted. O'Brien, an ill-advised toss. Calvin Williams was double covered in the end zone, but O'Brien got away with it. Vincent and Oliver were there.
They come back to the naked bootleg, and Mark Bavaro from the backside is going to try and run the same pattern, but this time Dwight Hawyer found him, and that meant Ken O'Brien just had to throw it away. He really didn't put enough on it. He was trying to throw it out of the end zone. Lucky that one was an interception.
Numbers on O'Brien today. He's only converting 3rd downs at a 30% clip, however, and they're facing 3rd and 7.
Now you're back to the same situation that Don Shula faced earlier.
Got an injured Dolphin, Chris, I think.
Right. Vincent. Troy Vincent, who was their #1 draft pick a year ago. But now you're back to the same situation for the Eagles that Don Shula faced a few moments ago. You're in field goal range, so you definitely want to give your kicker, Matt Barr, a chance to take the lead. Getting late in the football game now, only 8 minutes and 55 seconds remaining, and you think that Rich Kotite probably has a little more confidence in his defense than he does his offense at this point. I would be very surprised if there's any sort of a high-risk play here.
Chris Singleton, an extra linebacker, came in, replacing Vincent on the injury. O'Brien, incomplete, broken up, intended for Walker, and broken up by Alexander.
Boy, is this close. Herschel Walker on the wheel route down the sideline, has every right to come back to the football. Alexander not looking for the ball, but it hit him on the shoulder pad. And that was part of the reason that there's no foul.
Fortunate break for the Dolphins, so Barr will attempt a field goal. 47 yards to give the Eagles the lead. Eagles with a hold. Barr with a kick. Did it stretch out? No good. 47-yard attempt by Matt Barr is no good. And Shula still in front, just barely, looking for win number 325. Woo! From the vet in Philadelphia, Tom Hammond, Chris Collinsworth. Now 8 minutes, 45 seconds separating Don Shula from his record 325th win.